It has been an active offseason, to say the least, for the University of South Dakota women's basketball program, and we're joined now by their head coach, Carrie Eighmey. And Carrie, there are rebuilds, and there are tear the page, start over. That's the kind of thing you've had going on over the last couple of months.
Yeah, it's with two returners. There's a lot of new faces that are going to be on our roster next season, and I think our staff, give them a ton of credit. They did a fantastic job of just taking our situation and what we had, and going out and trying to find the right fit and players that we felt like could help us move towards more and more how we want to play, how we think we can be successful in the league.
Well, let's do the math here. 2 returning players, as you said, 9 transfers, and 4 freshmen. That gets you to 15. The 9 transfers. Obviously, the transfer portal is such a hot topic in all of college athletics. What has that life been like for you? I don't know if anybody in the country has signed as many players as the Eighmeys over the last couple of years between Idaho and now South Dakota.
Yeah, what's interesting is it's unique in the sense of each year the portal has looked a little bit different. 2 years ago there were a lot of still COVID athletes in the portal, fifth-year kids, things like that. This year was very unique. It's kind of we're getting out of the COVID years, less of kind of those fifth-year situations. Obviously, NIL has changed the kind of nature of how things are happening. So it was a very unique portal season. And despite all of that, again, I feel like we did a really good job of finding, young women who fit USD, who are going to thrive here in Vermilion, and again help move our program forward.
Talk about the financial piece, because that is a big piece of this anymore. And in talking to all kinds of coaches on men's side, women's side, all that, they've all said one thing, and that is the money part is crazy. What was the experience like as you tried to find 9 players to get into your program, get enough to say yes to fill out your roster?
I mean, I think, with that much money flowing and players being offered, which is fantastic for them, tons of opportunities to be able to earn more money. But it made things interesting for sure. Players that you may have felt like in the past you would have a pretty good opportunity to recruit and maybe be successful, might have been being offered anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 to $100,000. So very, very different landscape. Obviously players were making even more than that, depending on what level and things of that nature. So, it's one of those things, I think, as coaches, you just have to be super adaptable and kind of just roll with the punches and kind of figure it out as you go along and make your way through even just a single portal season.
So as you attack this process, what things did you identify as needs as you selected these different pieces out of the portal, and how happy are you with the way that puzzle ended up coming together?
I think one of the things that's really important in your first year in a league is you get a good glimpse of, what does it take to be successful in this particular league? And I think that informs your decision-making about recruiting moving forward. I think the second thing is obviously we knew our deficiencies, right? And so it was important for us to recruit additional versatility, feel like athleticism needed to improve. Obviously, we really struggled to defend the ball last year and be able to control the ball. So those were all things defensively that we felt like would help us: the versatility, the athleticism, the ability to defend the ball. And then even offensively, just trying to build a roster where we felt like we had multiple weapons in a lot of different areas on the floor. And again, felt like we were able to address a lot of those issues.
Obviously, when you walk into a situation, you inherit a bunch of players that you didn't necessarily recruit, and you try to pull the best out of them that you can, trying to play as close to the way that you want to play. But I know in our conversations last year, you said, this isn't ideal in terms of the way that a Carrie Eighmey coach team would play. Do you feel now with the group that you put together and that you had a hand in entirely, how different is it going to look just in terms of the X's and O's and things of that nature on the floor next year, do you believe?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you never really know for sure until you get an opportunity to work with the players that you recruited. Just by what we know from watching film and being able to evaluate those players, we do feel like we're going to be able to defend more consistently. Defending and rebounding, you've heard me say that I don't know how many times since we've had these conversations, but they're just two areas of the game that you can really control. And, if you've got some players that really take a lot of pride in that end of the floor and play with effort and energy and discipline and some toughness, on the days when the ball isn't going in the basket, you're still going to give yourself an opportunity to win the game. And for us too, offensively, the ball movement, the body movement, those sorts of things, I think will look quite a bit different than last season.
Well, in reality, it's going to be year 2 for you, but in some ways it feels probably like it's going to be year 1 because you're starting over with an almost entirely new roster. And I'm sure there's a lot of USD fans out there that are going to be excited to see how things come together for you with this group and see what a real Carrie Eighmey team looks like. The one that she constructed really looks like out on the floor when the season rolls around, which is going to be here before you know it.
It is going to be here before you know it. I'm really looking forward to the summer, getting the opportunity to work with this team and just getting going. And it's going to be as much about the chemistry as it's going to be about the talent with this team. With 13 new players, we've got to work very quickly in getting them acclimated, playing well together, playing together.